Hey everyone, it's Paul from One Cast One Fish, and stay tuned so you don't make the same mistake that I did. If you've been following all the trends in the fishing world, you'll know that a lot of people have been switching over from mono and fluorocarbon to braided fishing line, especially on their spinning reels. And this last season, I decided to jump on the bandwagon and spool my spinning reels with braid. Now, in the case for my spinning reels, I decided to go with the Power Pro Moss Green 10 pound, which basically has about a 2-pound diameter. And then I topped it off with about a 6-foot section of 8-pound Invisex fluorocarbon. Now I've got to tell you, I've been a big fan of going with the braid and fluorocarbon leader on my spinning reels. There's been a whole lot of advantages to this setup that I absolutely love. The increase in sensitivity. With that braid going down to that short fluorocarbon leader, I can feel every single rock and stone from 20 feet down at the bottom of the lake. And that kind of sensitivity has been unparalleled, especially compared to when I was using mono or even straight fluorocarbon on those spinning reels. Second would be manageability. Anyone that's used straight fluorocarbon on a spinning reel knows exactly what I'm talking about. Line twists, wind knots, all those type of things have kind of been pushed in the past. Not saying they don't happen with the braid, but they definitely are a lot more infrequent compared to when I had the straight fluorocarbon. Third would have to be the economics of things. With using the braid, I can easily get about 2 seasons on each reel. However, with that fluorocarbon, when I was using straight fluorocarbon, it was at least getting replaced twice a year. That's because about halfway through the fishing season, it became unmanageable. The coils would just stay in the line, the wind knots would get worse, and eventually you would just have to peel it off and start over again. Like I said, I have fallen in love with the braid and the fluorocarbon leader trend, and I am definitely on board that train, and I'm going to go that route continuing into the future. With all the praise and promise of a braid to fluorocarbon leader, I did run into one major problem this last season. And honestly, it was self-inflicted. But I don't want you guys to make that same mistake, or I want you to at least be going into it with this in mind. Here's 2 of my spinning reels from this last season. As you can see, braid, Power Pro, 10 pound, moss green. Now, that 10 pound Power Pro and moss green is a 2-pound diameter fishing line. And what I found is that in low light, or even in bright sunny conditions, I have a hard time seeing that green color line while I'm fishing. That's not really an issue when you're using the bait casters or you're fishing those faster moving baits. However, the vast majority of my spinning reels are used in finesse techniques. I'm throwing Senkos, I'm throwing wacky rigs, drop shots, shaky heads. And for me, in those techniques, I'm really watching that slack line for any indication of a bite. And unfortunately, with that moss green color, I can't see it all that well. Sure, there's some times when it's no problem seeing that line or watching for it to move, but in those low light conditions, or when it was bright and sunny, or if I'm fishing against a bank that has a lot of greenery or shrubbery, other things like that, I found it very difficult to watch that line. And that probably resulted in a few missed bites this last year. Now again, it could just be the fact that I'm getting old and my eyes aren't what they used to be. But it's something I want to make sure that if you're going to switch over to this braid to fluorocarbon leader trend, it's something to keep in mind and really think about. So with the spring fishing season right around the corner, I'm in the process of relining all my reels. And off to Bass Pro Shop I went for 4 new spools of Power Pro. And the difference this time, high vis yellow. And I stepped it up to 15 pound, which is still a 4-pound diameter. Again, the moss green was just difficult for me to see, especially with that small diameter, and hopefully stepping up and using this high vis yellow is going to rectify that situation going forward this season. And for this season, I'm going to be adding the Sunline FC Sniper in 10-pound test to the additional leaders that I'll have available to tie onto that braid. And you know, that's one thing I didn't even mention earlier when I was talking about advantages. The ability to switch out leaders to change presentations so easily when using a braid to fluorocarbon. I can easily go from a super finesse technique with 6 or 8-pound test and jump up to 12 or even 15 if the conditions arise that I need that heavier line for a larger or heavier, deeper presentation. Thanks for watching, and hopefully now you don't make the same mistake I did. I want you to really step back and think about that braid color when you're switching to a braid to fluorocarbon leader setup on your spinning reels. I know I didn't, And it probably cost me some fish this last season. And now, having to buy a brand new line, it cost me even more money for this season. As always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to comment down below, and we'll see you next time on the water.